Senator Rosen, thank you.
Thank you, Chair Risch, Ranking Member Shaheen, for holding this hearing today. Thank you to the witnesses for your previous service and again for being here. I want to talk a little bit about counter-narcotics efforts. So, Ambassador Johnson, as you're aware, Mexico is one of the United States' closest partners. We share a 2,000-mile border that contains 47 active land ports of entry. I proudly represent a state with a large Latino population, many with having family ties to Mexico. I've also helped advance legislation to stop the flow of deadly drugs across the southern border by cracking down on transnational criminals, but I know that we cannot combat this crisis alone. We have to work closely with our partners like Mexico to address the flow of illicit drugs coming into our country. So, Mr. Johnson, can you speak to the importance of U.S. support for counter-narcotics programming? And do you think that it is in the United States' best interest to cut funding for programs that that combat the flow of illegal drugs in our hemisphere? And how do you think Mexico would react to a decision to cut that funding that helps combat the flow?
Thank you for the question, Senator, and thank you for your efforts, which I am sure have saved American lives.
So.
It's something that the flow of illegal drugs is something that we can't immediately turn off completely. I think it's a continuing process. It's improvements that have to be made as quickly as we can. We absolutely are more effective if we work with partners, and not just Mexican partners, but partners throughout the region. And that's why I think organizations like JTF Bravo and JTF Alpha play such an important role, because that includes a presence from a lot of the countries in the region, and we can share that information. And I think that's key to continuing to improve at a steady rate. I think Mexico wants to do that.
So continuing to improve collaboration, funding, to be sure that we're meeting all the future threats, current and future, be prepared for future threats, you would say.
Yes, Senator, I agree, and I know there's a review going on right now of a lot of those programs. There have been waivers granted already, and I am confident that throughout the review process, those programs that have the greatest impact will continue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to move on to you, Ambassador Hoekstra, the Five Eyes Alliance, of which Canada is a member. It's one of the most successful intelligence sharing alliances in the world. It's been key to U.S. military responses, including in Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and yet the Trump administration has taken actions that have caused our allies to reconsider what information can be shared with the United States. So, Ambassador, the Five Eyes Alliance is based on a high level of mutual trust. That's how all relationships, the foundation, right? So in your opinion, do you think it makes us safer or stronger if our allies decide to scale back the intelligence that they share with us out of concern that they can't trust the United States?
I've spent a lot of time on Five Eyes. I've spent a lot of time on intelligence. And it's clear that the cooperation, Five Eyes is unique. It's unique internationally. And each of us brings certain strengths to that relationship, and it is critical that.
So, are you willing to fight to be sure that it remains resilient and fully operational?
Absolutely. You brought up, the continuing threat of transnational organizations. Okay, on those kinds of issues, those kinds of threats. We talked earlier with the ranking member about fentanyl. It's not a huge amount that goes across our border from Canada, but we can expect.
Tomorrow it could be something else.
Tomorrow could be something else. And closer, because I think what we're looking at is these relationships and taking the relationship of Five Eyes and applying it to law enforcement and those types of things, building our relationship will enable us potentially to get a better handle of fentanyl and drugs coming across the border, whether it is from Mexico, whether it's from Canada, or somewhere else.
So I think we're in agreement that our strength and safety and security around the world is based on levels of trust, our partnership, collaboration, and cooperation with our allies to fight against those who wish to harm us.
If confirmed, I will do everything that I can to strengthen that relationship on Five Eyes, law enforcement, cooperation, trade. Those are all opportunities to make to make Canada and America safer, secure, and more prosperous. Closer cooperation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.